Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam
Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Purijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Siddhakam Vitamscha
Dandavat Pranam
Maharaj.
Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj ki Jai and all the assembled devotees
Ki Jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Shri Sri Guru Gauranga Gandharva Govinda Sundar Ju ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan Ju ki Jai. Giriraj Govardhan ki Jai. Sanatan Goswami Prabhu ki Jai. Rup Sanatan Bhattu Raghunath Sri Deva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sri Goswami Prabhu ki Jai. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki Jai. Sri Gupta Govardhan ki Jai. Sri Dila Govinda ki Jai. Ganga Devi, Jamuna Devi, Bhakti Devi, Tulsi Devi ki Jai. Sri Brajamandal Parikrama ki Jai. Om Vishnupad, Vishwavarena, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mata Charja Vrinda ki Jai. Sannyasi Vrinda ki Jai. Seva Vrinda ki Jai. Nitai Go Premanande. So Maharaj, I know that normally after Gokulananda, when we're going to Radharan Raman temple and singing the praise of Gopal, Bhatta Goswami Prabhu, but in as much as we didn't do that, you'll say, I prefer to go to the Madan Mohan temple of Sanatan Goswami Prabhu and begin there. And because Rup, Sanatan, and from Rup, we glorified yesterday Sanatan, Sanbandha, Gyan, Sanatan today. And we will circle back to Radha Ramanji and Gopal Bhatta Goswami Prabhu. Certainly, first, you know, it will happen.
We were all very happily hearing you mining extra gems yesterday at the Radha Gokulananda temple, Maharaj. So, yes.
So, lead us there.
Well, we all know where we're starting from. We are starting by giving obeisances to the deities in our temple, the temple. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mata Mission Seva Kunj. So, Shri Guru Gauranga Gandhava Rasa Vihari Ju ki Jai. And Jai Srila Guru Maharaj at his Pushpa Samadhi, Srila Guru Maharaj ki Jai. And Jai Shri Radha Damodar, of course, ki Jai. And then Maharaj from here, then I think that your team of Kirtanias, your team of devotees, but we're going to a little bit further. So I think they need to chant at least 3 Maha Mantras as well as Panchatattva and Nitai Gaura Haribol. Because we're going a little further. And by the way, we heard exactly today that the streets in Vrindavan today are very crowded. Everybody's like shoulder to shoulder. So we'll go on the back roads, the narrow back streets to avoid the crowds.
Excellent.
So dear devotees, please sing. Yeah.
Premanande.
Haribo.
Yes,
So
Maharaj.
Maharaj, we've arrived there at the bottom of the
Put a
temple.
picture of the Madan Mohan temple on the screen.
And then we've come up the steps and we're in front of Madana Gopalji, the Pratibhu Murti, the replacement Murti of the deity of Madana Gopal. So we'll give our obeisances here, and then we will follow Srila Goswami Maharaj as he does a half parikrama to the back of the temple. And then on the clean, fresh, green grass, we'll put down something to sit on, and then we'll gather here to hear your Harikatha, Maharaj.
Yes, I am very much wanting to see the temple. You know what it looks like? Reddish stone. And there we Hare Krishna. Just such an extraordinary temple. Just amazing. And you know, we hear, I remember when one thing I want to say to her, was it, you know, today's the Tirobhav Mahotsav Bhakti Vichar Jajavar Maharaj, who's the last person to take sannyas from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and a very dear friend of Srila Guru Maharaj. We had the good fortune of his darshan, I think Madhusudan Maharaj as well. You know, he'd come every year and stay for like a month, have one attendant with, there he is, Jai, Srila Bhakti Vichar, Jajavar Maharaj Ki Jai. There's so many slokas, like sometimes if Srila Guru Maharaj is searching for a sloka, Jajavar Maharaj is right there supplying. He would sit next to him. And yesterday, when you hear that talk of Guru Maharaj explaining Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, the song of Narottam Thakur, and you'll hear, because sometimes he's searching for the next line, off mic a little bit, but that voice you hear supplying the next verse is Jajavar Maharaj. So when Guru Maharaj gave this explanation, he's sitting next to him. There he is. Hare Krishna. So he was very young when he came. He went to Puri when he was like 16 or so, looking for, you know, sadhu guru, like, you know, the epitome of the simple-hearted, pure soul. Because when in Puri, some Saraswati Thakur happened to be there. So he's like 18 by this time, and Gaudiya Math devotees, you know, and they're what we heard in that one book of Sadananda, Isla's called the aggressive mercy. Sometimes they employ, and devotees are still carrying on that tradition. They just can't help themselves. They want to share Krishna consciousness with others, bring others in connection with Krishna consciousness, so they can be forgiven for always wanting to distribute mercy to others, you know. But anyway, so some devotees of Gaudiya Math, you know, are like, why are you here? You know, what did you come to Jagannath Puri for? You know, like, and he said, to find sadhu and guru. Oh, then come with me. And then immediately he's transferred to the lotus feet of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And the reason I mention that is because Srila Guru Maharaj says, like, such was his level of accumulation, of what we call sukriti, and more specifically, Nitya Sukriti. He said that easily he got, right? Sometimes we hear like, sir, so many years, so, you know, That's one way. There's so many. With each individual devotees, there may be a different way. And even there's Shastric reference for that. Each one of them ekes out a path to cross the ocean of nescience. It's not a repeat. There's similarities, the association of Vaishnavas, and that's the point I want to get. When Guru Maharaj said his accumulation was so great that he goes to Puri to find Sadhu and Guru deposited at the lotus feet of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his Jaiva Dharma, he quotes, perhaps it's the Brihad Naradiya Purana, on this subject, saying, it's devotees who awaken devotion, because it's a mystical thing. On the one hand, it's, Krishna Prema, Nitya Siddha, Sadhu Kavanoi, Shravanadi, Shuddha Chite Koroye Udoy, saying it's eternal, but here the Udoy means awakened by hearing from, how do you say, Sudurlabha Bhagavata, real Bhagavat devotees. You hear something from them, that's awakened. If you had no capacity, then the words like awakened or give, it wouldn't be used. There must be some innate capacity there that's being expressed, awakened, etc. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was like Satsanga Prapyate Pumbi Sukrite Sangchitai. Yeah, I forget. There's another word in there. So he's saying, how do you get this? But the accumulation of Sukriti brings you in connection with the agent. So I said to Srila Guru Maharaj, because I remember when I came in connection with Krishna consciousness after a year before, but joined on my 19th birthday. And many others, they were like me, like teenagers. If someone was 23, I remember there's a person who was 24, and we were saying like, he's like a man. Like they're men in this, movement. We thought it was like mainly other teenagers like ourselves. So we revered someone who was so old. But then I was thinking like, so how is it that this group of teenagers, for the most, could, go to Rath Yatra and appreciate that? Hear Srila Prabhupada start talking about Sanatan Goswami Prabhu and the other Goswamis. One of the first things I ever heard Prabhupada say was, Tyaktva Turnamashesha Mandalapati Srinim Sadat Tuchabat Bhutva Dina Ganeshako Kurunaya Kopina Kantasrito Gopi Bhava Rasamrita Dilahari Kalola Magno Muhur Bande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyago Srijiva Gopalako. Why did we like that? These are teenage boys and girls. He's speaking the a verse from the Sad Goswami Astakam of Srinivasa Charja, glorifying Sanatan Goswami and all of them, and saying what? How they Mandalapati Srinim Sudat. He's saying they kicked off all aristocracy. I mean, they were highly placed government officials. They just one day just walked off the job, so to speak. What are we told about Sanatan Goswami Prabhu? That he hasn't shown up for work, and they go, what is he doing? He's like, he has a group of Brahmins, and he's studying the Bhagavatam. Then I thought later, you mean like, and producing the Brihad-bhagavatamritam? So like that's like he quit his day job and he's staying with the Brahmins, and they're going through the Bhagavatam and pulling out sloka. It's a, Nana Shastra Vicharanai Kanipano Shaddharma Sangstapako. What is the mysterious charm of these sounds? And when he said that, Prabhupada, it was like a lecture and ascending or on the Rath Yatra cart of Subhadra. So there's Jagannath, Balabhadra, Subhadra, all the devotees there, and Golden Gate Park on the so-called hippie hill. And so I asked Guru Maharaj, I said, did he give us the capacity to appreciate these things? Because that was my feeling. Right? But Guru Maharaj surprised me by quoting this verse, which, as I said, is found in the Jajavar Dharma and Brihad-bhagavatamritam, quoted by Bhakti Vinod. Satsanga, Prapyate Pumbi, Sukrite Purva Sang. Oh, that's it. Sukrite Purva Sangshitai. Purva means something before. So he's saying there, and that means the accumulation of Sukriti brought you in connection with the agent, and then there was some appreciation. And then this makes sense. And that's why in the Ado, Shraddha, Tada Sadhu Sangha, Bhajanakriya sequence, Guru Maharaj is saying it's interesting, and he'll explain why it can be inverted, because it seems to say that Shraddha brings you in connection with the sadhu, the agent, but the agent increases your Shraddha. So they work hand in hand. But Guru Maharaj pointed to this verse to say, the accumulation of the Sukriti brought you in connection with the agent, and then the appreciation, and of course, hearing from the agent, the udoy, the awakening of this prospect and these tendencies. So that Guru Maharaj is extracting from this happy event of Srila Bhakti Vichar Jajavar Maharaj. You understand? You could tell this story and just say, he was there in Puri, met a Gaudiya Mat devotee, and they said, oh, what are you doing? I'm looking for a guru. Oh, come on over to Gaudiya Mat, meet Saraswati Thakur. And that's true, and that's fine. Guru Maharaj is extracting achinoti yashastartam, the acharya who can extract the inner meaning of the scripture. And what does he do? He's showing you how it's real and relevant in your life. It's not that this was said so long ago, and we're just overwhelmed with nostalgia. The spiritual world is not nostalgic in that sense, right? it's real time live stream. You know, Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korilo Prakash. So Jajavar Maharaj comes. So 10 years later, he's around 28. And Srila Saraswati Thakur seen such a pure-hearted soul, like, you know, from a 16, 18-year-old boy, and highly evolved, an expert singer, also for kirtan, and knows the scriptures, the slokas, totally loyal, faithful to Saraswati Thakur. Saraswati Thakur saying, Prabhu, I want you to take sannyas. And he's so humble. And, you know, the devotees never think of themselves as being qualified, right? So he's thinking, can I do this? Maya is so powerful. She can overwhelm us at any time. Everyone must remember that. There's no point where you're beyond the influence of Maya in the mind of a devotee. We may say by observation about the Nitya Siddha devotee, and that's another thing. But even them, when they appear here, their mood is always respectful towards Maya. They never disrespect Maya. One devotee once said, I challenge Maya. Can she take me from the lotus feet of Prabhupada? And she did. Do not challenge Maya. That is not. So rather, Jajavar Maharaj, he's thinking, I'm unqualified. This is dangerous. so much risk involved, and talking to other devotees, and they're saying, yes, Prabhu, one has to be honest about these things, and if you feel, they're counseling him not to go ahead. Right? Everyone needs a friend like Guru Maharaj. So this comes to the ear of Guru Maharaj, but Saraswati Thakur, one and Jajavar Maharaj hesitating. What was his name? Like Sarveshwar Ananda Brahmacharya. I forget the exact name, but anyway, so his Brahmacharya. So Guru Maharaj goes to Saraswati Thakur and says, there's hesitation on his part. So then Saraswati Thakur sends for him. And he said, it is this world you should be afraid of. He said, but you, in this self-sacrificing act, you are approaching the abhaya pada, the fearless zone. So you're going toward the fearless zone. This is the place you should be afraid of. You shouldn't be afraid of doing that. Right? So, and we would be remiss if we didn't mention at this point, what was Srila Prabhupada Swami Maharaj's name previously in his Purvashram was, he was known as Abhay Charan De. Right? When he got initiated by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he gave him the name Abhay Charanaravinda. Right? So what is the song that we sing? Bhaja Hunre Mana Srinanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Vindore. Right? Durlabha Manava. Janama Satsange Taraho E Babu Sendure. Yeah, so anyway, so that's what Abhay means fearless. Right? Saying you're approaching the Abhaya Pada, the fearless world. So in that way, Saraswati Thakur convinced him sweetly. And so he took sannyas, and as we told yesterday, in the final 3 months of Saraswati Thakur's manifest pastimes, he's singing Sri Rupa Manjari Pada every day, and also so many other songs to assist in the bhajan of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhakti Vichar Jajavar Maharaj, Tirobhav Mahotsav Ki Jai. And so those Goswamis mentioned by, as we told, Sanatan Goswami leaves his employ and he's extracting from the Bhagavatam, and his most important book is that Brihad-bhagavatamritam, where he's showing the gradation of devotion. And he's been described, we hear of Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan, Tattva, right? Sambandha, generally perspective or relationship, Abhideya, the means to the end, Prayojan, the fruit, the end. And the first slokas of the Bhagavad, first one, Sambandha again, second one, Janmadhyasya Yataha, Dharma Projita Kaita Botra Avideya, and Nigama Kalpatur Galitam Palam, Shuka Mukadam Ritudavisham, Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam, Muhuraho Rasikaba Vibhakaha, Prayojan Tattva. But Sanatan Goswami Prabhu, the Sambandha Gyana Charja, Rupa Goswami Avideya, Das Goswami Prayojan Tattva. But Guru Maharaj tells us something like an interesting key to understanding things. He's saying the ultimate truth is in the middle. We always find the highest thing in the middle position. But he says the middle 6 of Gita. He says, I'm just quoting him. And he's saying, so in these three, because wait, this is Rupa Nuga line in the middle. And so first deity of Sambandhagyan, Jayatam Surato Pango Manda Matergati Mat Sarvasva Padambojo Sri Radha Madan Mohano. Madan Mohan. Right? But and I'll just say Hare Krishna. And Guru Maharaj, we'll see here, this is Madan Mohan with who's surrounding? Anyway, I'll just continue this and we can come back to that. So in these slokas, just told Radha Madan Mohan, not with other associates. In the Prayojan sloka, Sriman Rasa Rasa Rangvi Bangshi Bhatta Tatasita Karshan Venu Swanai Gopi Gopinatha Sri. We're saying, oh, Gopinath Krishna. That means Rasa, Leela. Guru Maharaj will say, but that is public, means so many groups, when he says public, he means so many different groups included there, all the groups. Saying, but what is in the central? Dibyad Brindaranya Kapadrumadha Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prestayali Bi Sevyamano Smarami. Radha and Govinda surrounded by their intimate associates, meaning the Parama Presta Sakis of Radharani and that group. Right? So that's in the central conception. But why, if Sanatan Goswami is the Sambandhagyan Acharya, and elsewhere Guru Maharaj says, the Bhakti Siddhanta Acharya, why the deity connection of Madan Mohan? Because, as indicated in the Bhagavatam and shared by Guru Maharaj, the whole world is operating on the principle of eros. Right? That's the driving principle of material existence. When we say this world is the perverted reflection, it's the perverted reflection of the original. So that principle that is so central and original in the upper world, then it's pervertedly manifested here, and it's the central driving force of everything, eros, right? Otherwise known as Cupid, or in Sanskrit, various names, Kandarpa, but Madan. Madan means Cupid, eros, the erotic principle, that driving force. So everyone is under the sway of Madan, right? The whole animation, in the words of Guru Maharaj. In other words, not just the human section, the animal section, it's just the driving force of existence. And we're helplessly, hopelessly riveted or structured that way. Right? So in one sense, there's no escape. So when Narada is chastising Vyas and saying that, by the way you've given religion to the world, people will be religious and remain bound. And that's not what you intended, but that's the end result of all of this. They'll follow your advice, these recommendations, and they'll remain bound in this world. Because why? In essence, if they do not hear of the possibility of the erotic principle in the upper world, in that plane, they'll conclude the only place where it can be expressed is here. And if they're honest, they admit they're hardwired by this. So the only place to express that is here. And the only way to do that legitimately is following some religious principles given by you. So they'll forever remain bound here unless you express clearly this possibility, this potential in the upper world, in the pastimes of, more specifically, of Sri Sri Radha Krishna and the Braja Gopis. That's why the Bhagavatam culminates in the Madhura Rasa pastimes of Radha and Krishna and the Braja Gopis. And when I asked Guru Maharaj, why on this churning of the Kir Sagar, the milk ocean, it's a wonderful pastime, and the 9th canto, and celebrated here in Thailand, and particularly all over Southeast Asia, and the churning, to get Amrita, ostensibly to achieve immortality. And then this verse in the very last chapter of the Bhagavatam is mentioned. It's referencing that pastime. And I thought, I couldn't understand why. There's only 20 or so verses there in that chapter, so they must be very significant. A conclusion is being drawn, and referencing back to that pastime where the gods and the asuras are trying to get nectar to get immortal life. I couldn't adjust it. And Guru Maharaj said, very beautifully, he said, what was the object of their churning? To achieve Amrita. See, and the reason that verse is giving, it's saying, Madhura Rasa is that Amrita, that nectarine substance. Not just generic immortality, but Muktir Hit Vanyata Rupam Svaropena Vibhastiti, a life of love, with Swarup, a divine form in the domain of Krishna. So Madan means Cupid. So one Cupid has the whole world enthralled, enslaved, has a stranglehold on the heart of everyone. So in the beginning, first deity, Madan Mohan, must be Madan Mohan, why? Has the beauty, seductive charm, sweetness, Kandar Pakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham. How beautiful is Krishna? 10 million cupids. Right? Not just one cupid who has everyone bewildered. We're told Madan Mohan, that cupid is bewildered seeing the beauty, charm, and sweetness of Krishna. Yang Shama Sundarama Chantraguna Swarupam. So it says, Kandarpa Koti Kaminiya Vishesha Shobham. If 10 million cupids were personified as one, that should make us faint, because it's like, we can't withstand the influence of one cupid. And then they're saying 10 million of them personified in one, then you would have to faint. Right? But what Guru Maharaj is saying is that, but that Madan Mohan, although in the beginning position of Sambandha, is indicating this prospect, this future, without being very explicit about it, is indicating that this potential is there in the future. Right? So, and what does Sanatan Goswami Prabhu do in his book? Show step by step how to go to that plane. What's the last chapter of the Brihad-bhagavatamritam, or the last section? The Goloka Mahatmyam. Remember, after part 1, it's, what is it in essence? We're told the Bhagavatam has been spoken by Sukadev, and Parikshit Maharaj is about to, he's shutting down like all of his senses. And mother comes running and saying, can't you, for your dear mother, tell me, share the nectar that was given to you by Sukadev, Uttara. And he's saying, like, I'm glad you came right now, because I was just about, the snake bird is coming. He's going to shut down all of his senses. Really, it will be over before the snake bird practically arrives. But we're told Jaimini Rishi is hiding in the bushes and overhears these things. But anyway, so she's saying, can't you tell, some of this nectar for your mother, your dear mother? And so that's his presentation to her. And she concludes at the end of the first part, she's saying, the Vaikuntha, it sounds so wonderful and beautiful, but I don't see how the devotion of like Yashoda and the Gopi could be accommodated there. Is there some other world? Yeah. And that leads to the Goloka Mahatmyam. But what we see is sequentially the step-by-step gradation and presentation of devotion in Krishna Bhakti. When I would sometimes ask Srila Guru Maharaj, random questions, he would see that they weren't structured in a particular way. They weren't, it wasn't like one like here and then a better one. They were just random is the only word I can think of right now. So seeing that, he said, haven't you gone through Brihad-bhagavatamritam? Yeah. Like he could detect that, we could say. And I was saying, no, he said, oh, there, like that you must study. And then you'll see, because I would mention a sloka from Rishabdev to his sons, like Nayam Deho Deha Bhajami Loke. And Guru Maharaj said, that is generic bhakti. I go, oh, I'd say one from somewhere else. And you would see, I could not distinguish between generic bhakti, Shantarasa, Das, and so he said, you must go through Brihad-bhagavatamritam and see the gradation there. Hare Krishna. And we see that going from the Brahmins of this world and their puja to the grandeur of South Indian style puja, to Jagannath Puri, to Indraloka, because we think this is the best in this world, and then we're told, but above this world, in the Swarga world, you should see the kind of puja they're doing there, right? So he goes there. What does he find there also? That who is the little brother of Indra? Vaman Dev, the Vaman avatar. So this is what we're told. Karma Misra Bhakti. It's devotion, but there's something mixed in. And what does Indra tell him? Yeah, our good fortune, he appeared in this family. He's saying, but did you know that Brahma is Atma Bhu? He's born from the Lord, right? From the lotus navel of Kiradakshaya Vishnu, it comes the lotus flower, and Brahma is born. You think so? What does he do? He goes to see Brahma, and as Guru Maharaj would tell us, he would say, Brahma is here. Remember, every person, Narada praises them as being the best devotee, the most fortunate. And each one of those devotees deflects that praise to someone they consider to be they don't consider themselves devotees. But when this praise is coming toward them, we're talking about pratishta to guru. So they take that pratishta coming toward them and offer it up higher. Always, and then Narada comes praising them. You see, devotion is a mutual praise transaction. And that's mentioned by Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu. As one of the hallmarks of devotion, appreciating the devotion of others. No devotee ever thinks that they have devotion, but they consider themselves fortunate to be in the association of others who have devotion. So, sent to Brahma, Guru Maharaj would say, Brahma is saying, like, I am so busy running the universe that I don't have time for like my mantra, my japa. It's like Brahma can't chant all of his rounds. He's saying, but Mahadev Shiva, he doesn't have a care in the world. And he's sitting, in Shiva Loka beneath an 800-kilometer wide banyan tree, and just there, like wearing ashes and just totally absorbed in meditating nothing can distract him from his meditation. So This is the juncture between Brahma being the highest part of karma misra bhakti to now to jnana misra bhakti. Remember, when we deal with Shiva, Bhog Shiv, Tyag Shiv, Bhakta Shiv. So here we're like Tyag, jnana misra, some mixture there. Right? This is not Sada Shiva of higher. So Narada is praising Shiva, and Parvati's nearby. We're told that she was wondering, like, when are you going to say something in favor of Devi? But still, he's glorifying Shiva and says in the Bhagavatam, Vaishnavanam yatha shambhu, you're the supreme amongst the Vaishnavas, and Shiva saying, oh, I'm so shameful. And he said, do you know that I wanted a position greater than that of the Lord? That I'm that kind of person. Right? And Sanatan Goswami Prabhu, interestingly, on this book, it's his book, Brihad-bhagavatamritam, he has his own tika or commentary. So he's giving the commentary of his own book to explain it. So he says, don't believe Mahadev Shiva when he says this. Wait, you just wrote it in your book that he's saying, but don't take it at face value. He's saying, what he's saying indirectly, he said he wanted a position greater than Krishna. What position is greater than Krishna? Devotee. That is the only position that we can conceive greater than Krishna. Sri Krishna Karshini Chasa, the finite can bring the infinite under its control. He's saying, so indirectly he's saying about his position as a devotee. He's saying, but he's saying, haven't you read the Puranas and seen such? I have all these disciples, I'm Bhutanath, I have so many ghosts, this, that, unqualified disciple, they come to me, they ask for some boon. Then, conferring that boon upon them, then I'm brought in clash with Krishna. So an unfortunate position I have. But if you want to understand someone who's pure devotee, that would be Prahlad Maharaj. To see how, when we read Brihad-bhagavatamritam, we think like, how is this the Bhagavatam? It doesn't tell the exact same stories and the exact same sequence like that. Even in summary form, it seems to be so fresh and new and different. But if you see this sequence, then you realize how masterfully the Bhakti Siddhanta Acharya, Sambandha Jnana Acharya, Sanatan Goswami Prabhu is taking you on this journey through all these different stages of devotion, through this beautiful story of the ascension of Gopakumar. But so, 7th canto, Bhagavatam, Prahlad, right? Because remember, 6th canto, Parvati cursed Chitraketu. Anyway, 7th canto, Prahlad, and we're told this is where Shuddha Bhakti begins, pure devotion. Why? Because after all he's been through, tortured by Hiranyakashipu, that his smaranam, Prahlad personifies smaranam, it's never broken under any circumstances, right? So when Narada comes praising Prahlad Maharaj, Guru Maharaj said, Prahlad is embarrassed. He's saying, Gurudev, because he says, Guru, why are you giving so much praise to me? He said, well, because you remember the Lord under all circumstances. He said, that is by your grace. I couldn't do that on my own, but by your grace, I could remember the Lord under all those circumstances. See how the devotees, Narada trying to praise Prahlad, Prahlad saying, no, as you keep me. I am as you keep me, Gurudev. And this is not good. I'm one of your insignificant, aspiring disciples, and all this praise will not be good for me. Atistuti kore nindan. Too much praise is another type of ninda. Not good for me. Right? But so Prahlad Maharaj, he's, and what I was going to say, when the how is it pure devotion? When the Sringadev, out of love and affection for Prahlad, offers him anything that he wants, after he dispensed with Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad Maharaj is like hurt, and he said, "No sabritya sabai banik." I'm not a businessman. This isn't a business trend. Like I was worshiping you and thinking by doing this, my material life will benefit from it. Right? Saying, no sabritya sabai banik. It was out of love and affection. I don't want anything from you, please. Of course, later the Lord sort of forces it on Prahlad, but the pure devotion of Prahlad is shown a spotlight there that he wants nothing from his Lord other than this seva and divine remembrance. But he tells Narada on that point that, yes, by your grace, Gurudev, I could remember him, but I have no seva. Right? Remembrance, but no active seva. I rather admire Hanuman. So it's going from Shuddha Bhakti, and take it here, you can say Shanta Rasa, now to Dasya Rasa. So beautifully, masterfully, step by step, Sanatan Goswami going along the way. And of course, he meets Hanuman, and Narada. He's very sweet and generous, so he starts taking Ram Nam. They have a Ram Nam kirtan together, praising Hanuman for his unbreakable devotion to the lotus feet of Ramachandra. We know in Gaur Leela, as Murari Gupta, Mahaprabhu tried to break him to upgrade him, as it were, to Krishna consumption. And Murari Gupta could not. And he's thinking that night, like the next morning, he has to go see Mahaprabhu, and he's thinking, the only way out of this is death. If I will die before sunrise, that would be the happiest thing for me. Because then I won't have to go tell Mahaprabhu that what? I cannot remove the lotus feet of Ramachandra from my heart. That's his difficulty. That's his dilemma. He cannot remove the lotus feet of Ramachandra from his heart. But lo and behold, the sun rises, he goes to Mahaprabhu and tells him this condition he has. And Mahaprabhu is saying like, and he writes on his head, Ram Das. You're in court, you're just that way. But it's meant to shine a spotlight on this type of loyalty, unbreakable devotion to the lotus feet of the Ishtadevata. That's why. So the Braja Gopis worship Hanuman, all devotees worship Hanuman, regardless of their rasa status. They're all worshiping him because he has this one Lord, that's it. But Hanuman tells Narada that, so I have this dasya rasa relationship with the Lord, master and servant, and I'm very happy with that. As given in the Ramananda Sambad, whatever rasa, Jarjay rasa, always say sarvutam, whatever rasa one is tasting, they think, what could be better than this? Right? As we were telling about Yashoda, Is someone going to try and convince Yashoda to embrace another position when she's, how do you say, madly, incessantly kissing the lotus face of Krishna? Muhus chumbitam bimbad rakta dharam me. So he says, but he's aware of these things, but I've heard that my Lord Ramachandra has appeared recently as Krishna. And he's having these very intimate, friendly dealings with the Pandavas. And Narada said, then let's go there. And he said, I wouldn't fit in. All right, suit yourself. And he's giving so much praise to the Pandavas, reaching towards Sakya Rasa by extension. And what are we told? What does Yudhisthira Maharaj say? Narada is saying, oh, your pastimes is so wonderful. Hearing about that, everyone will want to become a devotee. Yudhisthira, no, I don't think so. Hearing about our pastimes and all the troubles we experience, and with our mother Kunti Devi, and you hear those slokas from her, and people will think being a devotee of Krishna is a life of trouble. So everyone will be discouraged from taking up Krishna consciousness if they hear about our pastimes. Narada doesn't, no. He's saying, what the message of your pastimes is when those who have dedicated their lives to Krishna and devotion to Krishna is all they know. That when they find themselves at odds with others and the world, and that Krishna will come and save them. That is the message of your pastimes. They can count on their Lord as their protector and say, you know, Gopite Bharanam. But he's saying, and anyway, do you see, is Krishna here with us? No, he's with the Yadus. The Yadu and the, what is it? The Sudharma assembly. And that's where he is. So it's gradually going higher. He goes there. And we're told in that assembly, there's a door through which Krishna appears every day. So you can imagine how intently everyone looks at that. They're just in an unbroken meditation on this door. Right? And anticipating that at any moment, the inconceivably beautiful Krishna, right, the door is going to, and he's going to walk through that door. So they're all looking at that door. And I like the people who do meditation. I think, so think about this door. If you can appreciate that, there's something there for you. Right? He's praising the Yadavas of such pastimes Krishna is showing with you. You know, when we say, Kwananda Kula Chandrama, and this Yarukul, Krishna is like, they say, like the moon came out of the milk ocean. Krishna's the moon that comes out of the Yarukul, this dynasty. But more specifically, Nanda. But anyway, that comes late. That's in part 2. But so they're all waiting, and Narada offering his praise to them. They're saying, yes, we have some extreme good fortune, but among us, there is that Uddhava. He's on the other side of the door. We're all on this side. He's on the other side, where Krishna is. Right? So, in this way, what did he do? Take us to Uddhava. What happened when Guru Maharaj met the Srutadhar from South India, who knew the entire Bhagavatam by memory? And Guru Maharaj says to him, no, so you know the entire Bhagavatam, can recite the whole Bhagavatam. It's only taken to be 18,000 slokas, 16,000 extent. So Guru Maharaj, and in your estimation, who are the highest devotees? And that man says, Chatushan, the 4 Kumars. Then he said, the Gurus, and what do you say? He said, they're in the lowest position. And with 2 slokas, it's okay if we use the word defeats him, establishes position, defeats that man, sweetly, sweet defeat. 2 slokas. So what does Bhaktivinoda Thakur say? There's the Brihad-bhagavatamritam and Saragrahi. Brihad-bhagavatamritam means who's carrying so many scriptures and Sanskrit books on their, like an ass, like when they use asses to carry things, like, oh, you know, like have to carry all of that shastric knowledge, it's a burden. So he said, there's the Brihad-bhagavatamritam, and on the other side, Saragrahi, I mean, they extract the essence from those books. So 18,000 slokas, Guru Maharaj, with 2, he extracts from there, Achinoti Yashastrartam. And what is 1? In sync with this Brihad-bhagavatamritam of Sanatan Goswami Prabhu, na tata priyatama atmayonir na shankara, na cha sankarshana na shri, naivatma chayata bhavan. Oh, from the mouth of Krishna, no less. Uddhava, no one is more dear to me than you. Not Atmabhu, who you heard about a few minutes ago. Brahma, Atmabhu, self-born Brahma. Not Sankar, Naivatma, Atmayoni, no, Shankara here. And also the word Shankar indicating the particular Shiva. Not Shiva, not even Sri. Here, Lakshmi Devi. Is as dear to me as you, my dear Uddhava. So Guru Maharaj is saying this sloka, that establishes Uddhava as superior to all of them. Right? So then the obvious question to be asked, well, what does Uddhava say? And we get to this part at the end of the first part of the Brihad-bhagavatamritam. And interestingly, in the Goloka Mahatmyam, it appears again. So we can take that it has some great significance. One of the, from the mouth of Uddhava, when Krishna sent him with the message to assuage the separation in the hearts of Radharani and Braja Gopis, sent as his surrogate, as representative, the Uddhava Sandesh, the message from Uddhava. And after he sees the behavior of Radharani and Braja Gopis, what did he say? Asamaho charanarenu jashama hangshang, Vrindavanekam apigumalato sadinam, yaddustajam swajanam arjapatam chihitva, bejur mukunda parivim shrutibir vimrigyam. Saying, I just want to be a blade of grass, a creeper in the soil of Vrindavan. What is the soil of Vrindavan according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur? How is it identified? Radha Padman Kitadam Vrindavan Jaranam. What is embellished with the lotus footprints of Srimati Radharani and that Chinmoy soil, right? Yet, you know, Tatataso Sarpati Hridya Kasmat Radha Padamboja Sudamburasi, Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur. Same. So he's saying that's the soil. If I can get an atomic presence in that plane, some of the dust from their holy lotus feet will come upon me, bathe me, and thereby consecrate my existence. So this whole sequence and gradation, higher, 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 higher. Where does it end up? Radha Dasyam, at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani and the Braja Gopis, twice. Right? Once at the end of the first part, and again in the second part. So Sanatan Goswami Prabhu very perfectly, step by step, doing this. Whereas Guru Maharaj said, Rupa Goswami and Upadeshamritam, he said, in a single bound, he leaps from Vaikuntha into Mathura with Vaikuntha Dhanidhobara Madhupuri Tat Tapi Rasotsavad, like shorthand, a shortcut. But Sanatan Goswami was showing step by step by step by step, incrementally. So therefore, he is the Sambandha Acharya and the Bhakti Siddhanta Acharya. And that Sanatan Goswami Prabhu is so detached and renounced, because we see where this the Madan Mohan temple is located, that you can still see where the Jamuna flowed, actually. Well, now they've got roads and everything, but really this is like where the river was. So, and this temple is not there at the time, but that's where he's staying. And we're told that a lady, she had the Madan Mohan deity, and she's worshiping very happily, and the deity tells her in dream, like, there is an old Baba, like I just heard Guru say, Sanatan Goswami is like the original Babaji. And I just put a little on the Chiron, except no substitute. And there's Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, saying, and Benares, Mahaprabhu gave him Babaji, Sanatan Goswami. So he would be called Buro Baba by the local people. Like, it's kind of like, sweet old grandpa, kind of, like very affectionate. It's mentioned, Dira, Janapriyo, Priyakaro, everybody loved them. Like you were telling the Gundas in Natadwar, they're going to the, they love them. Like everybody loves Sanatan Goswami Prabhu and wants to do a little seva for him, whatever, but he's staying there. The lady has the dream to take the deity to Sanatan. It's heartbreaking for her, but it's the will of the deity. And Sanatan Goswami is saying, like, I have no facility for this. We're told that living under a different tree every few days. So how is he going to care for this deity? And what does Sanatan Goswami do? How does he subsist? He, like when you make chapatis, you have to roll the ball first. And I've seen this in India and other places. Sometimes, no rolling available. There's that kind of thing which some people can do. They can roll a chapati just by going like this, and it spreads out. But others just take the balls and like toss them in the fire, in the hot ashes, the hot coals that's surrounded by ash, roll them around a little bit, pull them out, dust them off, and they're taking that. So that's what what he's subsisting on. But he's giving to Madan Mohan, right? And we're told after a while, Madan Mohan saying like, Sanatan. And that right there tells us this is not sadhana, this is not puja or archan. When the deity says Sanatan, a little salt you can give, really. And Sanatan Goswami is like, oh, I look like the kind of man who has salt. I have a big stock of salt here in my go down. I don't have opulent things like salt. And so what happens by the will of the Lord? That a barge comes by that's just loaded with tons of salt on its way, gets stuck near where Sanatan Goswami is doing his bhajan. And by bhajan, Guru Maharaj says, direct seva. The bhajan of Sanatan Goswami with Madan Mohan is not, he's not like doing puja or archan. direct seva. So the barge stops. Sanatan Goswami Prabhu, very expert in everything. Like Guru Maharaj said about Gurudev, he knows, all like things noble, unknown. He's expert in everything. Sanatan Goswami tells them how to free their barge, which they do. And out of gratitude, they drop off, like a ton of salt. A giant boulder, whatever, of salt. Like, so now Sanatan's got the salt, throw the balls in the fire, pull them out, a little bit of salt, Madan Mohan, then Madan Mohan, Sanatan, yes, a little ghee, which just a little bit would just make them so much more palatable. And then Guru Maharaj said, then we're told Sanatan Goswami, oh no, I know what you're doing. Krishna wants to feed him. That may put a smile on our face, but not on the face of Sanatan Goswami Prabhu. That's the last thing in the world he wants, is to receive service. And Krishna's tricking him, because Krishna is also very tricky, telling him, add a little salt. Oh, I need some ghee. I need it. And he's feeling, oh, it's his plan to feed me. So that is the Guru Maharaj say, pure devotion is where the devotee will not allow a pinprick through which remuneration can pass to them. It's airtight. Right? Like we thought, the beginning, na sabritya sabaibanik with Prahlad, and it becomes more and more airtight. Nothing will come back to the devotee. They never desire that. So Guru Maharaj makes an interesting point in contrast, again, to sing the glories of Sanatan Goswami Prabhu, that we hear of Kir Chor Gopinath, right? Gopinath stealing Kir for Madhavendra Puri, right? Because before that, his Gopinath, which is wonderful enough, right? But then he becomes even more glorious by serving his devotee. Then his fame becomes greater as Kirchor Gopinath, because someone say, oh, so many Gopinath. But it's like Kirchor Gopinath. Why is that an extension of his fame, glories? Because it shows that he is Bhakta Vatsala, controlled by love and affection. That's what Bhakta Vatsala means. It just doesn't mean like he likes his devotees. Well, why? Why do you like people? I mean, they like you. There's some loving exchange going on. So, and that's inconceivable. That the supreme absolute truth, supreme entity, the supreme personality of Godhead can be controlled by love and devotion. It's inconceivable. And Guru Maharaj would say, who can be trusted with that? Yashoda, those who are wholly one in interest. If the infinite is going to come under the control of the finite, though that finite better be vetted, right, along these devotional lines. So, Kir Chor Gopinath, Madhavendra Puri, and what is, he will be known for this. He will be famous. What is it saying, Ramananda Samvad? There is no greater fame than having the reputation of being a devotee. The so-called fame of this world is nothing. Right? Although people, they'll say, what do you want to do? And I want to be famous. Right? But of this world, it's nothing. right? But so there, the answer is there, that where it said, there is no greater fame than having the reputation that you have devotion. Therefore, that's a very delicate matter, because genuine devotees, that when is it pratishtha, which is the enemy of devotion? So pratishtha, again, the name thing, transferring to, offering up to Guru. But these they do not want to be known as devotees. Mahaprabhu himself, echoing the sentiments of Radharani, Guru says, Radharani herself says, like, people say that I have devotion to Krishna, I'm the best of, she said that it's not true. He said, what is bothering me and disturbing my heart is I could not give myself to him fully. That is my position. But still, people are saying these things, right? No prema gandasti darapi meharo, coming from the heart of Mahaprabhu, is echoing the sentiments from her. That I don't have a scent of the fragrance of Krishna Prem, what to speak of a drop of that divine substance. And then he's saying, no, we see you're crying. Ganga-like streams of tears are coming from your eyes in separation. Was Mahaprabhu. That is to cheat people, to make them think I'm a devotee. I'm a fraud. Why? Because if you really have Krishna Prem, Jambu Nadahim, it's not a thing of this world. It doesn't exist in this world. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in this world. He said, like the mythical rivers of heaven, gold, rivers of gold in heaven. They're not here, but they're there. He's saying, and what's the positive proof? In this world, if you had Krishna Prem, and then you became separated from Krishna for a moment, you would have to die. You would not be able to live in separation from Krishna. And I'm alive, so I must not have anything. That's the positive proof that I have nothing, that I'm alive, I'm living before you and carrying on, and like, that is the response. So Madhavendra Puri is fleeing in the dead of night before people come and start saying, you've got Krishna Prem and Gopinath stole cure for you, and all those things which happen. We're saying he tried to escape and could not, the fame. He went to Puri, but they were like, the word spread. Right? But so Guru Maharaj, just again, to sing the glories of Sanatan Goswami Prabhu and think how exalted he is, whom Sri Rupa reveres as Guru. Right? It's the Rupa Nuga Sampradaya, and Rupa Goswami reveres Sanatan as Guru. Guru Maharaj says, and you can see in Brihad-bhagavatamritam this line, where Sanatan Goswami is saying, I'm also a follower of Sri Rupa. And just as Das Goswami, Prayojan Tattva Acharya, Guru Maharaj says, the best student in the Rupa Nuga line. So his appearance day comes, Rupa Goswami saying like, oh, it would really, I want to make something very nice for my Guru, Sanatan. So, and remember, the balls in the fire, Das Goswami, the leaf cups with buttermilk, they chori danda, sometimes they sleep for an hour and 36 minutes a day. Why? Why? They're not tired. They're so, this internal nectar they're drinking and when writing, they hardly have time to, they sleep a little bit just to like keep their body going. They're that enlivened. And just eating the minimum. And then Rupa Goswami shows up with this like kheer, sweet rice type, this wonderful milk preparation. And remember, I mean, I just was reminding that, Krishna is a Gopal, Govinda, Gokulananda, Radharani is a gopi. Their favorite food is milk and endless varieties. Anyways, Rupa Goswami bringing this to Sanatan, like, this is very nice, please accept that. Sanatan tastes like, this is the most extraordinary, inconceivably wonderful taste. But he is that expert taster, right? When we hear these words of, Rasika, right? Sanatan Goswami, you cannot fool him or deceive him. He's the connoisseur of these. When he tastes us, it's unmistakably from a particular source. So he says, and he knows, you're living like me, different tree, where did you get this? And he's saying, oh, from where in Yavat, a girl nearby, one of the, gopis in the nearby town gave. And Sanatan Goswami was saying, like, find her. You go find her. And Rupa Goswami goes, and no one knows this girl. No one can identify her, describe everything, cannot. Right? And when Rupa Goswami returned, Sanatan Goswami is kind of like, oh no, like, for whom our whole life is an aspiration to serve her holy lotus feet. Ashavare amrita sindhumai katanchit kalo mayati gamita kila sampratam hi tvam kripam mayi vidasha shinaiva kimme prane brajena jabaroru bakarinapi. Whom our whole life, existence, and aspiration is to serve her holy lotus feet. We have accepted service from her. He's devastated. He's not thinking, this is just so wonderful and how fortunate. He's devastated by this, we're told, and runs away. And in that night, Guru said, when he's resting, and there's some others nearby, the breath that was coming out of Sanatan Goswami Prabhu was, then the fever that he was experiencing was so hot, it was blistering those around him. Like that sort of feverish condition it put him in, this accepting service. But what can we say? He's the leader, but that is the standard, right? So Madhusudan Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj, we're here at your service.
Say something.
Maharaj, we are nourished and blistered by the intensity of your mining, Maharaj. Maharaj, we are there, right there at the temple, and feeling it, and so comfortably without any disturbance from not just the monkeys, but the cows. Cows that come through there too.
Yes, that was our good fortune when we go to the place where the nice grass is. It's so soft and wonderful. Really, it's just, I can't, it's like being on your mother's lap. And one cow would sit there, like while we're trying to glorify Sanatan Goswami Prabhu, this cow would just sit there and eat the rose garlands and, just happily and receive affection from all the devotees.
And that area, there was, for the first time ever, I saw that aerial footage from the drone from above the temple and around and about. And really, it's quite amazing how fast that's changed from being forest to being quite built up from there to the river Jamuna. Mm-hmm. But it is a reminder that by coming to the Dham with the devotees and hearing about the Dham, then we come to get in touch with what is really there, rather than what's apparent to our eye. This footage, yes.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
the original gateway is on the left of the picture as we look at it. Apparently, that's the original gateway in, and the taller.
Where we go up the steps. Or
no, to the left of where we go. When we walk up the stairs, to the left.
Okay.
Was the original gateway in.
Yes, amazing.
And so how, yes, Maharaj.
No, continue, please.
No, I was just thinking, so how simple this area must have been in the time of Sanatan Goswami, just a forested area, and he's basically on the top of the hill where he made the temple there presently for Sanatan Goswami, for Madana Gopal, and with the funds from that boatman whose ship was grounded there, because he got a dream, and on his way back, then he got a dream in Mathura where he'd sold his goods, and it was Madana Gopal saying, "Oh, your boat is saved, but I need some service from you." And he came back and offered the service for the construction of the temple.
Beautiful. And I was thinking, from there we go down the road to the Kaliyahrad and the Kadamba tree from which Krishna jumped on the Kaliya. And behind there was Prabodhananda Saraswati. We can say something about that tomorrow. But Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, these verses were some that we're quoting tonight. And we mentioned that one about Nindantam Pulakod Kurne Vegasam. How he's saying, that's the first verse of the Radha Rasa Shuddha Niti. But the next verse, if just to conclude this, because it is the month of Radharani, and Sanatan Goswami Prabhu, this saying in his book, Brihad-bhagavatamritam, Radha Dasyechava. And I wonder, Guru Maharaj is always saying Radha Dasyam. I was saying and of course, I accept everything Guru Maharaj says, but I have to also be prepared if someone asks me something I have to sometimes search reference because I want to serve Guru Maharaj, right? If he says, plundered the wealth of the heart, stole, and I'm saying, Guru Maharaj is saying that, and I believe it, I accept it in toto. But if someone says, that comes from it, or some other, I can say, oh, Rupa Goswami, Aparam Kasyapi, Prani Janavidas Kutuki, Rasosamam, Ritva Madhuram, see, steal. So Guru Maharaj is saying that, and it's in Rupa Goswami. So I thought, always Radha Dasyam. So anywhere that expression is used, Brihad-bhagavatamritam, Sanatan Goswami Prabhu, Radha Dasyechava. But same thing. So how great, we're saying that devotion, when we mentioned about Lalita Saki on her day, Lalita Saptami, the Radha Mukunda Paravinda, so Haripadanaka Koti Prishta of Radharani, where she considers the nails on the lotus feet of Krishna to be of infinite more value than her own life magnified millions of times. This inverted wave, they're always, that's the secret to those who have devotion to the extreme. So, but it would be nice if no less than Krishna would testify like this, wouldn't it? Because all these they're all fanatical followers of Radharani, so we can expect they're going to say these things. But what about Krishna? Does he have anything to say about it? Right? And of course he does. He has a lot to say about as Gauranga Mahaprabhu. But in that Radha Rasa Shuddha Nidhi of Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, so that first verse, praising Mahaprabhu. And what is that? So Krishna consciousness is a celebration of the heart of Srimati Radharani. That's what it is. Right? And her heart conquered Krishna, turned him into a devotee. Now he's madly Krishna, Krishna, you know. And so, but in that prayer, the Radha Rasa Shuddha Nidhi, this first verse, very beautifully, and it's from Asta Saki Tunga Vidya, and saying, you know, Tasya Kadapi Vasanan Chalakalanota, Danyati Danya Pavanena Kritartamani, Yogindram Durga Magati, Madhusudanopi, Tasya Namostu Brishabhanu Vibodhi Shepi. So he's saying that Krishna, when Radharani is moving in her divine service, if some of the breeze from her skirt will come upon Krishna, he thinks that he has achieved the greatest fortune. So when we say greatest magnitude of appreciation for the least aspect, what could be more least or less than that, right? Saying the breeze associated with, if that comes upon Krishna, he thinks he's achieved an inconceivably valuable treasure. And who is that Krishna? Yogindram Durgam, that the yogis, if they're very rarely might they have a glimpse of his localized aspect, the Paramatma, if they're on a good day, if they're fortunate. Yogendram Durga Madhusudan. Tasya Namosu Vrishabhanu Vibodhi Shepi. And so, but so then what is the conclusion of Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur? Asta Saki Tunga Vidya. So if that's how Krishna feels, that the breeze associated with her is an inconceivably valuable treasure, like my good, I have achieved my good fortune. And it's mentioned in Charitamritam, again, the inverse of this world. When there is when things are indirect, they're more intense. It's the opposite of the mundane. So just seeing or observing things can have more intense effect and greater magnitude than direct connection. This is in the Chaitanya Charitamritam. So in consideration of that, what does Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur say? Perfectly. Right? So, Tasya Namostu Vrishabhanu Vibodhi Shepi. Then that daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj, of whom we're celebrating her month, the month of Kartik, saying that the direction in which she appeared is worshipable to me. Right? The direction, that's worshipable to me. From where I am at present, if that's the direction, then I worship that direction in which she appeared. So that's in the book of Sanatan Goswami and in the books of all of our Guru Varga. And we're so fortunate that we're getting this opportunity this month to celebrate in this way and recall the statements of our divine masters who only want to give this to us and only want to bring us in connection with us. Hare Krishna. There's that cow. Apparently the roses are very sweet. I don't know, you know. And then we know along the way, there are all these little girls who have they have a tray with grass on it. And they're offering it to you for a few rupees if you want to feed the cow, you know. Or there's other ones walking around with little ghee lamps and ghee wicks, right? The different stuff, they just sort of throw it together and, you know, come up to you. I asked one of those girls in Ucha gown who's attached herself to our, they weren't asking for anything actually there. And I asked her, what is your name? And she said, Brajalata. And I'm saying like, oh, like, Lato Sadinam Brajalata. And like, oh, Hare Krishna. Like that, Uddhava prayed for this. Brajalata. That's the girl in front of Chaitanya Saraswati Mata. What is your name? She said, Nayanamani. What? Nayanamani. Hare Krishna. Oh, and just to conclude about, so we go, and we can say more, don't we go down that Kadamba tree, and we're singing like Yasomati Nandana Braja, and these girls come in, and there's one like, say she's like 18, then 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, you know, all the way down on the line, you know, and they come as a group, and they're kind of, they see what we're doing, and they're smiling, and they're waiting for us to like finish. And then what are they going to do? What they've done for hundreds, if not thousands of years and so many generations. They're going to, they do this every day at like 4 o'clock. They're going to sing songs about Gopal and Krishna in the Kadamba tree, his different pastimes with the Braja Gopis. And they came for that. And when they saw that we apparently have some appreciation for their Gopal, they couldn't be happier. And then I realized we've heard from Bhakti-Rasamrita Sindhu, there's Grita Sneha and Madhu Sneha, 2 different types of divine love. In fact, one compared to ghee, one compared to honey. We're told the Grita Sneha, ghee comparison, Chandrali's group, that the predominating sentiment toward Krishna is, I am yours. I belong to you, I am yours. And you think, well, that sounds like the right thing, the right way. But Rupa Goswami said, but then there is Madhu Sneha of Radharani and her group. And what is their feeling? Like, you are mine. They feel possessive over Krishna. We're, you know, they, you know, like when I said to Gurudev, people in Vrindavan, they do this, that, and Gurudev, he said, he's like this, he goes, that is for devotees. And I went like, oh, yes, Maharaj. I don't know what I was thinking. The way he said it, that is for devotees. But anyway, these girls, when you could see their happiness and their pride, like, you have so much love for our Gopal. They feel they own him, they possess, he's theirs. And that others may have some love and affection for him, they couldn't be happier about that. They're Gopal. Hare Krishna. Oh, there they are. That's the leader, that girl with the big smile. Hari Harai Namo Krishna Yadavaya Namo Hari Harai Namo Krishna Yadavaya Namo Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Namo Gopal Govinda Ram Ki Madhusudan Jaya Charana Sevi Bhakta Janeva Janame Janame More Abhiran Jai Go Jai Jabe Bajai Kwelogan Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Korila Prasan Anande Goro Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Sri Guru Vaishnava Pade Bhajai Aman Sri Guru Vaishnava Pade Padma Koriyan Harinam Sankirtan Kore Narakamadan Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Jai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaura Hari Bo. Jai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaura Hari Bo. Jai Shri Brajamandal Parikrama Ki Jai, Shri Sanatan Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Radha Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Jai Om Vishnu Padma Mahansa Bari Raja Gacharya Sutera Sutta Shri Srimad Shilbhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Om Vishnu Pad Shilbhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Bhagavan Shilbhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai, Jai Saparikar Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda Sundar Ji Ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Go Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Govinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Brajamandal Parikrama Ki Jai, Shri Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Shri Gupta Govardhan Ki Jai, Ganga Devi, Jamuna Devi, Bhakti Devi, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Om Vishnu Pad Vishva Varenya Srilesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mata Charja Brinda Ki Jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Bhimala Avadut Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mata Charja Brinda Ki Jai, Sannyasi Brinda Ki Jai, Seva Brinda Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Brinda Ki Jai, Nitai Go Premanande.
Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. Oh. Shri Krishna. Jai, the Vaishnava Bhaktivinoda, there's Krishna Priya Didi Dandavat. Jai, Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj Kesvananda Prabhu, and all the Vila Govinda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. With Krishna Kanta Didi, Mananda Mohan, Shanti Mohi, Madhuranand, etc. Jai Sri Lekha Didi, my Dandavat, Hare Krishna. Leela Sundari Didi and Govinda Dham, Dandavat. Ravindra Krishna and Shamabalva Didi, Dandavat. Kum Didi, our Dandavats to you, Hare Krishna. The lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. Rasananda Prabhu, Dandavat. Jai Srila Bhakti Vigrahan Yasi Maharaja. Ki Jai. Dandavats Maharaj. Gokuleshwar Didi in Tomsk, Dandavat. Oh, Devashish Prabhu and Ishanuga Devi Didi, Dandavat, Dandavat Prabhu. Sri Hari Prabhu in Brazil, Dandavat. Udaran Prabhu, Dandavat. Chaitanya Nitai Prabhu in Vrindavan, Dandavat. Rupa Vilas Prabhu in the Philippines, Dandavat. Jai Sri Bhakti Sevan Rishikesh Maharaj and Gokulatarni Didi and Abazian. Looks like Yashodanandan Prabhu in the back. Am I correct? Yeah. Jai. Jai Pandita Didi Dandavat. Jaya. Do I wake or do I dream? Jaya Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Jadu Gopal Dandavat. Banavi Devi Dandavat. Ananda Lela Dandavat. Sugandha Kanti in China Dandavat. Keep learning that Damodar Astakam. We'll have you sing it in the end. How about that? You learn it all, and on the last day, you will have you sing it with your daughter, if possible. Malika Gaur Janavat Dandavat. We hope you can come here. Your services are needed in the next coming days. Yogamaya Didi Dandavat. Prem Narayan Prabhu on the good ship Harinam, Dandavat. Divya Shakti Didi, Dandavat. Ekadashi and Subhada and Tomsk, Dandavat. Bijayanti here, Dandavat. Ratan Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat. Bijay Krishna Prabhu in London, Dandavat. Purushottam Prabhu, Dandavat. We have quite a presence from the Salt Lake City. There's Subhashini Didi in Ireland, Dandavat. Indumukhi, Dandavat. Get your finger out of your mouth. Dandavat. I just had to say that. Jai Saraswati Didi, West London Mat, Dandavat. Suchitra Didi, Dandavat. Ajita Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat. And Harkiv Beta, that's Narayani. Dandavat. And then I said, Jai Bhakti Asrai Dandi Maharaj with Leela Sundardas Brahmacharji. Nityananda Ram Prabhu in Colombia, Dandavat. Sevarupa Devi, Dandavat. Is she in South Africa? Perhaps. Yeah. Asha Purna Didi, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. There's Purushottam again. That's good. He keeps reappearing. And it looks like Leela Purushottam. Right. Anyone I miss? Jamuna is here, Sulakshan is here. They're doing all the translation. Nityananda Das in Russian, Sulakshan in Chinese. Kamalini in Kiev. Kamalini in Kiev. Dandavat. Dhananjaya Prabhu, that's in Russia. That's Dhananjaya. Ajitasha, another Dandavat. And Sochi, Rukmini, Dandavat, Lakshmi Priya, Induleka, who is a Russian American or an American Russian. We're not sure. Right. Gunali, Didi, Dandavat, Bhaktabandhu Prabhu in the Philippines, Dandavat, Gaurachandra Prabhu, Dandavat. Ira, that means the goddess Saraswati. Dandavat, Harma Bhakti, Dandavat, Lace Bhoti, Dandavat, Supriya, Dandavat, Suchitra, Dandavat, Lavanya Moyi, Dandavat, Kamala Didi, Dandavat. All right, I think that's it. My Bancha Kalpatruvista, Kripa Sindhu Vevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namah. Hare Krishna. There's Sandeep and Maheshwari and Janvi. Dhanavat, Nandu Sukartal. Hare Krishna. Who's here? Janavi. Is this Janavi in China? Ni hao, Hare Krishna. I'm waiting for you.
Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo. Dandavat to all the devotees, to each other. See you very soon. Same time, same place tomorrow. Govinda Govinda.
On camera. Wave on camera.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat, Dandavat.
Hare Krishna. Joy.